at the other side of the table here, Mattias Falk came home a hero to Sweden. The hills of Halmstad had a band, had the mayor, had just thousands of people on the hills welcoming him back after taking the silver medal in 2019 at the World Championships, only losing to the three-time world champion, Ma Long. So, should be quite interesting to see. He's got short pips on the forehand side of the racket, Mattias Falk, and he's got a traditional spinny rubber on the backhand. I'll tell you more about that after the coin toss.
Receive.
So Wang Chu-Chin to serve first. Yeah, tell us more about the short pips and what that means.
So for those of you newer to table tennis, if you've played at a local park or on a cruise ship or at a friend's house, they probably have rackets that look like Legos on one side. They've got little bumps everywhere. Yeah. We call those pips or pimples in Europe and much of the world. Now, the shorter they are, the faster it hits the ball, the more of an attacking rubber it is. I'll talk about Wang Chu-Chin for just a minute. The left-handed player is one of almost no one in the world to have a winning record against Ma Long for some time.
Wow.
Almost no one can say that, having played him more than twice, other than maybe Wang Hao. And I think part of that was that they just clashed at a time when Wang Hao was closer to his peak than Ma Long was. Wang Chu-Chin has a lot of passion. He's called Big Head in China, Dato, but also Lionheart because of his passion. He was actually benched, taken off playing for a while after tossing his racket for a behavior warning. But that passion, I think, is also a big part of what makes him so good. Mattias Falk, the short pips you'll see in a minute, on the other side of the racket is forehand. What that means is he's going to hit the ball with less rotation. He's going to hit it flatter, which means it's tougher to rally. Players will naturally hit it back into the net. But it also means that he can't attack the ball from his low because he doesn't have as much spin to arc the ball up and help the ball come down aggressively on the table.
Because he's got these short pips.
Correct.
Right.
So the short pips have their pros and cons. If it was only advantage, everyone would be using them. Mattias Falk did because he's got long arms and he didn't have the shoulder strength when he was younger. He just said, my arm was lazy. I couldn't lift my arm fast enough, and my coach said, well, if you're not going to get racket speed, we might as well put on equipment that fits your style. So it works in his favor, it works for his game, and that's his unusual setup that can cause a lot of trouble for players to rally with. Now that's his forehand, but his backhand is very smooth, very spinny, and sort of the staple. He's got an aggressive spinny backhand that sets up that hammer forehand. He stands tall, about 6'4.5" centimeter-wise. I'm guessing it's somewhere in the 190s.
Yeah, it's 191. I mean, you know, Wang is not a short player at 6 foot, but still there's a big difference between these two.
Yeah, and people often